Hey, what's up you guys? It's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to go into chapter 19 of the game by Lindsay Miller, so I hope that you guys are ready for this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. Chapter 19. By Wednesday, when Leah returned to school with Jim and Devin, the halls were still filled with whispers and rumors about Ben. Lincoln was a small town and everybody knew somebody in the know. Leah barely listened to their history teacher talking about grief counseling. She had finished her missing work the night before, and it only took a quarter of class to finish the new homework due Friday. Instead of taking notes, she went over her list of possible assassin players. If she stopped thinking about school or the game, she would think about Abby and Ben. She couldn't think about them yet. Much of class couldn't seem to either. No one was in their regular seat, not even Faith. She had swapped with Georgia so that Abby's best friend didn't have to sit near an empty chair. And finally, said Miss Christie, straightening the papers in her hands, I believe you'll all be getting emails today detailing how the little game you all play every year is banned on school grounds. Anyone still found playing after today will be given in-school suspension for 3 days minimum, and repeat offenders will not be allowed to walk at graduation. This is, of course, for your safety. Leah's fingers clenched around her pen. What? Faith glanced sideways at Leah, and Devin touched her shoulder from his seat behind her. Assassins, Miss Christie said, looking at Leah. No more of that unless you want in-school suspension. Leah didn't listen to anything after that. A few hours later, outside at lunch, Devin sat next to her and held his hand before she could talk. I'm thinking about withdrawing from the game. I don't really want to talk about it, but I wanted to let you know. An uneasy energy settled in Leah, and she tapped her heels against the ground. This was the first time they had ever gotten to spend time together, and now it was almost over. I'm not getting in-school suspension or banned from walking. Devin went on, trying to convince Leah as well as himself. My mom doesn't want me walking around outside anymore either. You don't have to go out, Leah said. Please, we can keep playing from inside the safety of Jim's car. I haven't decided, he said. I was only putting it on the table. Ben was home, Leah whispered. They were in his backyard and they stabbed him so hard they couldn't get the knife out. They wore latex gloves so he couldn't fight back. Not playing isn't going to keep us safe. If anything, we should spend more time together. But it might be keep us safer, especially since they don't know who killed Ben. Devin unsnapped his lunchbox and pulled out a sandwich. Or why? Yeah, but what's the likelihood it's a serial killer, Leah asked, picking at the knot of the Kroger bag she used for lunch. Isn't it always a family member or a friend? We could win if we don't donate a lot. They have to match it. Devin waved to someone behind Leah and shook his head. We can donate and volunteer without wandering around in the dark. It's not like we would be alone, Ben. We would be alone, like Ben, mumbled Leah. They shouldn't have left. They should have stayed. They should have done anything else. Our grief is making serial killers out of circumstance. Pithy, but too late, Devin said. Faith, you still want to swap? The other girl appeared near Leah's left shoulder and sat delicately at the end of the plastic bench. She pulled a paper napkin out of her metal lunchbox and laid it on her knee. Devin had handed her a sandwich bag of crackers. She set a knob of tinfoil in front of him. Wow, Jim said. This is the most secretive I've ever seen you. A lunchtime swap mysterious tinfoil? It's so clandestine. Faith laughed. I don't like eating garlic bread at school. Fair. Leah took a sip of her water to hide her wince. She hadn't heard such a loud laugh since before Ben. You can stay and eat with us. Thanks, but I do not do the cold. She wiggled her gloved fingers as if playing a piano and tossed her fancy silverware, new crackers, and the napkin back into her lunch bag. My fingers get all shaky, and I told Georgia I'd eat with her. She waved goodbye, and Leah ripped the handles off her lunch bag. A team of two was at a severe disadvantage, but Leah had been planning for months. Maybe she could do it alone. I'm going to keep playing, Leah told him. I hope you do too. Devin got up abruptly. I'll let you know, and then he walked away. So I guess you're not dating then? Jim asked. Leah groaned. I don't know. I just don't want to think, and I can't think and need to think about something not Abby or Ben, and assassins is that far for me right now. She picked up Devin's forgotten garlic bread, peeled back the foil, and tossed a piece into the bushes. A robin pecked at the bread and dragged a chunk back into a small tree. You want to get milkshakes and see if we can knock Nora out after school, Jim asked. Leah nodded. The rest of the day was a blur. Leah didn't have another class with Devin, and though they had texted over the last few days, he hadn't talked about what happened at Ben's party. Death put a damper on dating. I just feel weird about it is all he texted her prompted during third period. It's a game and you're treating it like it's real. She had no idea how to respond to that, so she settled on, okay, it was bad. So Jim said, as they sat in their car after school, Nora, she goes to the big park down by the river after school before heading home, Leah said. Jogs, does resistance training and yoga depending on the day. Okay, Jim started the car. Let's go fake kill Nora. They grabbed milkshakes and snacks and Jim pulled over outside the park. It was one of those private parks owned by a homeowners association, and the gate to get in the lot was locked. A lone woman enjoying the solitude of the park was snapping selfies in front of the flower beds. They would have to get Nora on her way in or out or find a way inside. Jim cracked a window and Leah pushed her seat back down. So, you and Devin vanished for a while the other night. Jim sipped their drink. Have fun? Leah sank down in her seat. Yes. You want to expand on that? Not really, Leah said. I feel sort of guilty about it now, you know. Jim sucked on her teeth and nodded. I don't know if I should message May condolences or something. It feels like we left him to die, but not really, Leah offered. Yeah, Jim said. What if we stayed later? What if we'd gotten there earlier? What ifs don't bring people back? They just make us worry. Leah whispered her therapist had told her that. They might have just killed him the next time he was alone. We were just orbiting. If death were a planet, Abby and Ben's families were rings. Leah and Jim were distant moons and cold observant stars. If we keep this conversation up, I will cry, so I'm throwing you under the bus, Jim said. You and Devin make out? Oh my God, Leah folded over her knees and nodded. What does it mean? Jim practically squealed. It means you were wrong all these years. But it's not good circumstances, Leah said, at all. Are you still talking? Yeah, Leah said, and I'll see him tomorrow in class. Amazing, Jim said. Are you just excited because I was wrong? Leah asked. Blah, 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 blah. I'm happy for you, whatever. Jim waved their hand. So rarely I can say I told you so. Let me have this. What do I even say to him? Leah groaned. Hey, I know our friend died after we made out, but are we official or is it just a casual thing? Add a heart emoji to the end, but yeah. Jim leaned forward and touched Leah's arm. Nora's here. She didn't withdraw, so this is fine, right? I guess. Leah peeked over the edge of the door. Nora, a short girl sporting a swimsuit under her t-shirt and a scarf knotted protectively over her hair, locked a small collie and read something on her phone. A water gun was tucked into the pocket of her joggers. What do your notes say about Nora? Jim asked, pulling a water gun out of the back seat. Leah laughed softly. Smart, prepared, probably can't be caught unawares. Cool, Jim said. Can you see her? Leah riffled through the bag and came up empty. I can't find my binoculars, she said. Maybe my mom took them back. She hadn't wanted to loan them to Leah in the first place, and now she had probably taken them back as a way to make sure Leah stopped playing. Sounds like something she'd do, Jim said. That other lady is leaving, but unless you're a better shot than the first attempt, we won't be able to hit Nora from beyond the fence. People will probably show up before she leaves. There's a play group that comes by in 20 minutes. We'll be overrun by toddlers, Leah said. Could we have one thing go right? Jim exhaled loudly. This would be so much easier if Lincoln had fewer dog lovers. I have an idea, but it's going to get us disqualified if I'm caught. Nora vanished over the little hill to the dog park. Jim got out of the car, armed with only a phone. Leah watched as Jim slunk to the entrance of the lot, out of sight, out of the woman leaving, and started walking along the sidewalk toward the gate as if simply out for a stroll. Jim stared at the phone in their hand. The woman who was leaving shut the gate behind her and dropped her key into her pocket. She too stared at her phone. Jim ran to her, apologizing and fluttering about, one hand on the woman's arm and the other patting her down to make sure she was okay. It was a classic distraction, one Jim used often when showing off simple tricks. Jim and the woman laughed and chatted, then they went their separate ways. As Jim walked toward the gate, they flashed their palm to Leah. Silver glinted in it. Just the one key, Jim texted. Thank God, I'd feel weird stealing all our keys. You're amazing, Leah, laughing, got out of the car and close enough to the park to watch. Jim kept their head down and both hands on their phone with no sudden movements. Nora didn't look up and Jim got within range without even the dog noticing. Jim lingered near a bench and Nora set her phone aside. Jim lifted their water gun and fired. Water splashed against Nora's back. Leah whooped. They all joined up and exchanged details and plans. Nora was a good sport and a touch relieved. She had grown tired of being on edge. Nora left to change and Jim and Leah chased down the woman to return her dropped key. As they returned to Jim's car, Jim wrapped one arm around Leah. I know we're probably not going to going to the same school after this, and I'm technically leaving, Jim said, but I'm not leaving you. I know, Leah whispered. Do you? Jim asked. Because you're being weird about this. Leah leaned her cheek against Jim's shoulder. Everything is about to change, and I know you haven't decided yet, but whatever it is, I'm not going, and that's fine, but we've not been apart since 3rd grade. It's weird. I don't like it. Leah rolled her eyes. I mean, I like you going to college. That's great. I don't like not knowing when we'll next spend time together. This is it, and this was it on spending time with Devin. Jim's eyes narrowed. I have another idea. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.